physical silver holders, do you know where you are? You're in the jungle. It is a jungle holding on to precious metals because there's a certain group of people that can change the price whenever they want. That group consists of mainly JP Morgan Chase, the CME group, which is also JP Morgan Chase, and a few other banks that are their buddies. Now, having said that, I've had a thought for a little while. I don't think I've shared it with anybody yet, except for some friends at work and stuff, and my buddy that I go and eat lunch with every now and then. The one guy that I took off of Facebook when I had a Facebook page, out of like 51 or 52 people I had on there, trying to wake people up, explaining about silver, the problems our country's facing, etc. And every day I'm posting stuff, I get no responses. And the funny thing is, it started off with 9/11, and he's like, "Oh man, not you too." And I said, "Hey, just do me a favor. In all fairness, I want to send you something. Just look at it. And then if you still have that same comment, then that's okay, that's fine. And if you want to talk about it, we can. And otherwise, it's whatever." All right, fair enough, fair enough. So he went and saw it. I don't remember exactly what I sent him specifically in regards to what I was talking about, but I think it had to do with Building 7, World Trade Center 7, and how it wasn't hit by a plane, and it still came down at free fall speed. That is not physically, scientifically possible, and that's the case I made. And his response back was like, "Wow, that was pretty interesting. So, you know, tell me a little bit more. What else do you have about this kind of thing?" So I sent him a few more things. Next thing you know, we're talking about silver and preparation and all these things. That's the other guy I eat lunch with, by the way. And that's the other guy I talked to him about, or talked to about what I'm about to tell you about, too. And I had a thought. Now, we all know damn well, 100%, just like the COMEX, the LBMA, right, the whole exchange, they don't have 130 million or whatever they claim total ounces of silver. The COMEX claims they have 33 million ounces, and the main, I guess, exchange through the LBMA claims they have around 100 million ounces of silver. We know they don't have it, but how can you possibly force them to show that you have it? Well, you can't, because if you do what Gerald Celente does and say, "Here's the rest of my money, I've got enough money in my account, demand delivery for next month, I want my physical gold or silver," "Oh, sorry, we just went bankrupt, you don't get any of it back." Matter of fact, you'll be lucky to get 70% back of paper money, not your physical gold and silver you asked for. So you'll never be able to make them show their hand. And at the same time, they're recognizing we're not going to be able to do this forever. We can't keep this lie going forever. We will have to destroy this lie sooner or later, one way or another. Just like they had to get rid of the Twin Tower buildings in 9/11. That whole thing happened. They had to cover up the evidence, and the cover-up was Bin Laden. And then they said, well, how do you get rid of one lie? Well, we got to get rid of it through another lie. So the first lie was that Osama bin Laden was able to pull this off out of a cave. So how do we get rid of that lie? He's still allegedly alive because we're still looking for him. So how do we get rid of that? With another lie. That these brave Navy SEALs went in and they had helmet cams, and remember the war room picture of Obama in the White House and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, everyone's looking, oh, what you know, all of the news media, what's going on here? Oh, they were watching the live, basically, takedown of Osama bin Laden. It was very tense. Leon Panetta, who I believe then, I think it was him, who was head of the CIA at the time, I believe, nonetheless, the head of the CIA at that time said, oh, there were some very, very tense moments at that time. And the news person asked him, well, what do you mean? Like, what was so tense at what particular time? He said, well, there was a moment of about 15, 20 minutes or so where the video feed cut out. The live feed from the soldiers, the Navy SEALs cameras on their helmets, cut out. We couldn't see what was going on. Very tense. What part of it, what did that happen? When they first went into the house, or excuse me, compound, and when they got him, and then when they were coming out and going back to the helicopter, then the cameras came back on. Really? Yeah, really? So they don't get to see anything. Kind of like you don't get to see anything in regards to the Twin Towers because, not necessarily Twin Towers, but the Pentagon. FBI were on standby, ready to confiscate any local nearby building that had security cameras facing the Pentagon, and they were on that like flies on stink very rapidly, confiscated those videos. No one ever got to see what was on them because they had the Pentagon in sight. Why are they so fast to confiscate videos? Because, and by the way, there's no law that allows them to come in and confiscate your video. It has to be subpoenaed by law in order to get some kind of evidence, unless you willingly give it to them. And naturally, the people of these convenience stores and hotels are going to naturally give them the security camera without question, the videos. Same thing happened with Timothy McVeigh, Oklahoma City. They said, what was their excuse too? When the event happened, why don't you have video footage of, why have we not seen any video footage of the actual event? And just a few minutes, what was the thing? Or maybe it was, I forget what part of it was, but they said, well, before this happened, we were changing the videotapes right at that moment. Well, what about afterwards? Well, because they didn't have 2 hours before or 2 hours after Oklahoma City on video. How come? Well, we were changing the tapes before and after, and when the event happened. And to this day, no one's seen those tapes either. So all I'm telling you is that where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, plain and simple. So anyways, why the hell am I telling you all this? Joe, you want to talk about silver in the SLV? Yes, I did. They had to cover up things. They knew things couldn't last forever. They have to get rid of stuff, right? That's the point of me telling you this. Have to get rid of the evidence. Now, all of a sudden, the evidence for the Oklahoma City building bombing, which was stored in some warehouse, has been subpoenaed by I think it was Freedom of Information Act, who had to go to court to fight it because the FBI still would not give it to them. And the FBI told the court it would take, you know, several thousand man-hours with 2 people trying to cover that building to find these tapes. And they said, well, don't you have it all logged? You know exactly what row, what section? I mean, come on. Well, we do, but they're not there. They're somewhere in that building. We just don't know where. So we have to manpower, go in there and find them. In other words, they're not there, and you're never going to see what's on them. Okay, that's the point. They had to get rid of the evidence. So, the SLV, along with the COMEX, right? The COMEX, the LBMA, those exchanges, have to be done away with. And haven't thought too much of how the LBMA or the COMEX will go down, but I've been thinking about the SLV, which we all know is a paper stock, basically. If you buy one of those stocks, you're buying essentially 1 ounce of silver, but it's on paper. And you can never ask for it because they're never going to give you the real thing. They claim we're the custodian of it, the trustee. We got it in these warehouses. For every share we sell you people, I mean taxpayers, I mean consumers, I mean peasants. For every one of these we sell you, we have 1 ounce of silver in our warehouses, but you're never allowed to see it. The news will never be allowed to see it. Nobody outside of top very few select people that work for us will ever be able to see it, so trust us, we have this silver. Well, alright. Which enables them to create shares. So if you have 3,000 tons of silver, however many ounces that equals, millions, then you've got enough silver, millions of ounces, millions of shares to sell out to people for the price of silver. But because you don't own the silver, you never had the silver, you have very, very little silver in reality. And essentially, it's another scheme. Not even necessarily a Ponzi scheme, because a Ponzi scheme, you're taking people's money, using that money to pay out dividends and things to other people who gave you their money, and the train keeps rolling, and you always have this cash flow basis. But when one of those other original people said, I want all my money back now, I'm you know, tired or whatever, I want my money back, then it throws a monkey wrench in the plan. And then another one does it, uh-oh, we're in trouble. Then another one does it, oh crap, we're done. Then you get exposed and you go to jail. Unless you're a member of the club. If you're a member of the club, you're not going to jail. You simply lost the money. Accounting error. Done. Have a nice day. So, if SLV does not and has never had the silver, real silver in their possession, but they don't have to show it to anybody, they can just claim they own it, and then give out shares to everybody. Here you go. They're pulling in massive amounts of money. because they never had to use that money to go buy the silver, which is essentially how it was supposed to work. 1 ounce equals 1 contract. Therefore, one share. If that 1 share needed 1 ounce, then you had to go use that money to go buy the 1 ounce. And as the prices would rise, you could offset that a little bit by buying a bulk amount of silver now at the low price, and then saying, okay, we've got 2 million ounces of silver, therefore we have 2 million shares we can put out at this price. The prices went up $5, great, who wants in, etc. So that scheme can't last forever, as we all know. So how could they get out of it? How could the SLV completely just shut everything down and screw everybody? You don't have to look any further than the SLV's prospectus, or the terms and conditions. In the terms and conditions, which I urge you to go look on the internet right now or after this video, and just type in SLV prospectus, right? And see what you come up with and read it. I did a video on it, by the way, a long time ago. It may have been in 2010, it may have been in early 2011, I honestly can't tell you. I'm thinking 2010. And I covered that prospectus. And I don't know if my title, SLV, you may even just type JSNP4 in Google, JSNP4 SLV, or something like that, and see what comes up. But I read that prospectus out loud on video. And in long story short, is that at any time, if the owners, the trustee, etc., determine, for any reason they determine, we don't like the market conditions, or we just had a bad day today, we don't feel good, my stomach's hurting, we are closing down the SLV, and we will pay out what is owed at the current price of silver, or excuse me, the current price of the SLV. It's a stock. It is very closely attached to the price of silver. Recently, it's been about $1 behind silver or so from what I saw the other day when I looked. Regardless, let's just call it even with silver. $33 silver, you got $33 SLV. Let's just say that. And then all of a sudden, they destroy, like my gut feeling's been telling me for the last several months, they destroy the silver and gold market, heavy duty. Let's say we see $10 silver again. And by the way, if we do, you better get your credit cards ready, because you will never see that happen again. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I'm just saying, if it were to, you will never see those prices again. And you better sell something, do whatever you have to do, sell your freaking car, do something to get and secure silver at $10 an ounce if this takes place. But my thought is, they crash the markets down, silver and gold especially, and they may wait until they take the whole market down, by the way. That way, we can't sit here and file any kind of lawsuit or complaint saying, hey, why is the stock market looking decent? The bank stocks are looking decent, other stocks are looking decent, but silver and gold just got destroyed 50% or whatever, right? They couldn't do that. It'd be too obvious. So they have to probably wait for the massive market collapse, which they're going to do, just a matter of when, how soon, etc., and pull everything down with it, including gold and silver. And then the SLV guys can say, hey, due to market conditions, we are liquidating, selling off all the silver and gold in our GLD, and the SLV is going to be cleaned out. We will pay you today's current price of silver and gold as we liquidate this, and we've got a buyer for all of it, by the way. Who is it? That's private information. We're not going to tell you. Or our buddy JP Morgan's going to buy it, and JP Morgan won't really buy 3,000 plus tons of silver because they don't have it. It'll just be a scam that they're working together anyways. But the whole time, they've been pulling in your money and everyone else's money who's in SLV free and clear, because they don't have to have any silver or gold. So they can just pretend they have it, take your money for the stock as a share, hold on to it for all these years. As the price goes up, they're still pulling in people's money who's continually buying stocks. They've got a massive amount of money on their hands, and then all of a sudden gold and silver get destroyed due to the terms and conditions of our contract, our prospectus. We are closing down SLV, we are closing down GLD, and the price of silver is $10 today, times however many millions of contracts we have out there. And let's just say it was 1 million contracts. That's not. That would be $10 million we have to come up with, when in reality they've been pulling in millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, because the price of silver has been up to $50 even. People were buying those shares then. $40 people were buying shares then. $30 people were buying shares then. All the way down to $10 people were still buying. And a lot of people may have dumped a bunch of money in right before the SLV comes out and announces we're closing down shop at $10, thinking I'm going to ride this train back up in my paper asset, only to find out it's not a paper asset. You just gave us the money and we're basically giving it to you right back because we're closing down SLV. And we don't have to tell you why, but we are going to tell you why. The market conditions are terrible right now for precious metals. Silver's down to $10. Gold maybe is down to $800, whatever. We're closing down shop. In our prospectus, we have the right, the authority, the legality to do it. We are doing it. For those of you who may want your shares turned into silver, no, we can't do that. It takes too long to put these orders together. We're selling it all in bulk one time on the open market. It has already been sold. Here's your paper money back at $10 a share. We keep the difference of from when it was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That whole time we were pulling that money in, we keep it. And we pay you back pennies on the dollar. It's all legal. We didn't break any laws. SLV's gone, GLD's gone, and then gold and silver get prepared to skyrocket. And then it does, and everyone wants to kill whoever was in charge of the SLV and GLD for destroying their investment, their livelihood. And they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't break any laws. Although I don't think people care about whether someone broke the law or not when you wronged them heavy duty. And at the same time, the stock market would probably do the same thing. They're going to crash it. Lindsey Williams, just recently, they're going to crash the market. It's not going to be in the next few months either, by the way. They have got to get people, and countries specifically, in a heavy-duty debt. We are not done bailing out countries in Europe. Excuse me. We are not done getting ourselves into even more debt. We have got to be in a massive amount of debt when they pull the trigger. And then everything gets destroyed. Everyone's in pain from watching this whole thing happen. And then the World Bank or IMF, whoever it ends up being, comes out, use our currency. It's backed by gold. You would never have this problem again if you use our currency. And we've been bailing you out, everybody, for so long. You know, we're telling you, you have to do this now because you owe us. That's how they're going to approach everybody. But it has to be backed by gold. That's what Lindsey Williams said too. It will be backed by gold. So you may find the central banks of the world all of a sudden unloading their gold to the IMF or World Bank for some reason or another. It's hard to say. But I wanted to share with you my thoughts of the SLV. How can they get rid of it? They have to get rid of it. It can't continue. If it's a scheme, it's a scam. It only lasts so long. You get in, you pull the scam off, and then you get out. That's how every scam has ever worked in the history of humanity. The whole history of the entire world, it's always been that way. Therefore, is the SLV in existence? Yes, it is. The GLD? Yes, it is. The COMEX and these exchanges? Yes, they are. So these scams have to get done away with. They have to get removed. They couldn't just close down SLV and GLD today, $30, $31, $32 silver, you know, $1,600 something gold. People are going to say, well, you can't, I mean, why? There's going to be lawsuits, and the lawsuits could win. Why would you shut down? The market's fine. Well, good point. But if it gets destroyed, and a judge or whoever or jury was to hear that, well, it was $30, Your Honor, and would jump down to 10 within a matter of days. We sold out, and it went down to 8 afterwards. Where's it at today? It's back up to 55. That fast, yeah. But, Your Honor, we didn't know. I mean, we saw market conditions. Our red flags are flying in front of us. Sell, get rid of this. We have to do this before we lose every penny of the investor. Luckily, we sold at 10. The price of silver went down to 8. So we did do a good job there in saving some skin for these people. And now market conditions have changed and the price is back up. No one foresaw this. We couldn't foresee this. Nor are you going to be able to prove that they didn't see it. You couldn't. So they win again. That's why you have got to hold precious metals in your hand. So that when you bought at 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 50, 45, 30, etc. And they do this, you've got all that silver you accumulated the entire time, so that when they destroy the price of gold or silver, you can just sit back and say, I'm not selling. You're going to feel like selling because you're going to get sick to your stomach seeing how destroyed that, or low it goes when they pull this off. If my theory is right anyways, it could be wrong. But you at least have the comfort of knowing, well, I've got the physical, you know, it's like I have all these SLV shares in my safe. So even if they liquidate theirs, I don't care, I have mine. I'll wait it out, prices go back up, then I sell. That's why you have to hold the physical. Don't ever give someone else control of your financial assets, which I hate using the word asset when it comes to paper because they're not worth the paper they're printed on. As I just explained, the SLV can close it down at any time for any reason. And they're going to, you know they will. And when it happens, I'm going to try to find this video again and say, hey, you remember when I did this video? Could it be 6 months? Could it be a year? Could it be 2 years? Could it be 3 years? Yeah, it could. Don't know. But I know how these people operate. And that's it. So anyways, take care.